Hello everyone, Railgan here with another ZvZ. Today we're having a look at this game that I played against Stephano, and I want to talk to you a little bit about defending in ZvZ, how you get an advantage and why it's really hard and why roaches are kind of hard to use even for defense, because against Ling Bane the best defense is usually Ling Bane until you get enough of an advantage that you can actually get roaches out. But you do have a small defender's advantage, so as a defending player you should almost always have a little bit more on the income side. If you don't, you're going to have a really hard time in the early game. Either way, I am starting the game off with a hatch first this game, so not the pool first, but it doesn't really matter, he's going for a hatch first himself, then he will go for gas and pool, just like I will. He's going to put some pressure on. I'm going to skip a bit through the early stages, as you know. If you want the replay is down below in the description, as well as a link to all the other cool stuff. Right now, the goal is to get a third base up, get a baning nest, get about 8 drones at my natural, and then try to defend my third, because a lot of players like to attack once they have about 8 drones at their natural, and their main saturated as well. You can see it's going to do about that. I think people always play a bit differently, but it's usually something along those lines. His third base is a bit later, but that doesn't really matter. I think his baning nest is also later, he just droned a little bit more, but yeah. We're now at about an even drone count, and we're both making links and banings. I'm making 5 more drones. That's the last amount of couple drones that I need to make, and then I need to defend. So one key thing to notice, one sec, is that I have an overlord positioned here that shows me where, if he continues to flood me through down that ramp, and I have another overlord here that shows me if he floods me through this road. And there's no other place for him to leave. I mean, if I have the overlord here positioned perfectly, I can see all this and I can see all this, and like, I mean, he could drop over here, but that would be kind of stupid and a waste of money anyways. So it's important that you know where your opponent is going to attack, and even if I would lose this overlord to a queen, it would still be worth it for me. But now I have to somehow defend, right? So one key thing in this matchup is that you always continue to build banelings, and you always want to move command your banelings. So I'm just move commanding my banelings around to try and make certain that he cannot kill them with single links, but just sending them at them. Sometimes mistakes happen, just like there, where I still lose the baneling, and then you also have to split your links a lot, so the enemy banelings do not all just blow up. At the same time, I am up about 7 workers right now, but I don't really have that many units here. I have a roach one on the way. I have my natural almost saturated, whereas he has only 8 drones there, and he's now attacking me with a lot of links and a couple banes. And he's just going to keep on flooding me. If I have drones at my third base, he's just going to kill them. And the hard part for me right now is to judge whether he's going to drone up his third base or whether he's just going to flood me to death. As it seems, or as it appears, he's just going to flood me, and that was a huge loss. And you see, I'm always trying to morph banes, but I can't quite do it right now. So I'm losing a decent amount here. I made some banelings down here to try and be safe. I keep trying to build banelings. Right now I'm building them at my third base because it's the only place where I actually had links left. And he's also building banelings. I do have a roach one finished, but roaches have too long of a build time for me to actually produce them. And there I got a good hit off, and we're just constantly building banelings. Another important thing that can help a lot is if you pull these queens to actually help you in the fight. I didn't do it this time, I think I should have though, because queens can tank a lot of damage and they can also be useful to snipe the banelings. I might do that a little bit later on, but I'm not fully certain. Either way, I do have a bit more income, and I'm also trading a little bit worse than him. Still, as you can tell, the link count keeps growing, but this is another issue. So while my link count keeps on growing, a single baneling hit, like if this baneling just explodes into these links, then all the advantage that I got through the income by building the links gets nullified. So even though I do have more money and I am building more units, they also die very quickly to banelings, and there's not really a big difference between having 100 links and 50 links, because they both still die to banelings super quickly. So that's always a bit of a hard part. And now move my queens here to try and help me snipe the banelings with them. I'm trying to build a couple roaches, but as you can tell, roaches have a really long build time. You might not notice it much in other matchups, but in ZvZ the build time of roaches becomes really apparent, because compared to lings they take forever to build, and well, because they take so long to build and because they do not really do that much damage, just a couple roaches, it can get really hard. But right now I'm still ahead 3 workers, so I do have a decent amount of money in the bank though. I didn't really defend this perfectly, of course. Stephano is still a way better player than me on micro-wise, and he also has about twice my APM. He's better at macroing. I also had to pull the queen, so I couldn't really inject. But right now I have my roaches out and I feel pretty comfortable. It's important that he has to get something done right now, because the way the game looks is that I have roaches and banelings out, and things are not going to do that much against roaches and banelings. So he's going to start droning now because he realizes he can no longer do damage. It's important that you realize that your opponent stops flooding you, that you then try to go for a counter attack of your own. This might not be that applicable to lower league games, but in higher league games it's really important that as soon as you notice that your opponent starts droning and stops building units, you just attack them, because they will most likely not have units at home. So right here I just made a couple of lings and I did a huge amount of damage with them. Those lings killed a total of 6 workers, and 6 workers can be a lot in ZvZ. I mean, it's 12 lings, right? So you can say, well, Railgan, how many times did you lose 12 lings? Yeah, that's true. But he wanted to really get that income up, and as you can tell, I mine about 500 to 700 more per minute than he does right now. And the main base is also starting to mine out, so he really needs to mine at his 3rd base. That's why I also put on so much pressure with my roaches. And I do have a lot of drones at my natural that I'm going to transfer soon, I think, and as well as the ones in my main. I was just very busy with the attack, but I'm going to transfer them now. This is kind of good for me that he noted that he scouts but sees that I only have a couple of drones there, so he might think I'm in a worse economical position than I actually am. But then I just get all the gas, get a 4th base. Not really going to mine from it yet. Try to go for some link counter. Here I think I just get that one Ravager and hit the other Ravagers a bit. The links are not really going to be that useful in the fight, I think. So I just wanted to kind of trade them away. And then he decides to go for an all-out counter because it's all he can do. He's behind in workers. I have a 4th base on the way. I have upgrade advantage very soon. Actually we'll have the +1 carapace as well, so not really an advantage. But this right here is his final attack, that because I had a better economy, I'm able to thwart somewhat easily. I mean, still takes me a little bit of time, but once you get the +1 missile upgrade, the links become a lot less useful, and that's really the goal. So that is how I try to play ZvZ. It's a very hard matchup to play, but I hope I could explain you guys the process of ZvZs a little bit, how they work, and yeah. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Bye!